The light of strength is not the light you see. It does not change and flicker and go out. It does not shift from night to day and back to darkness till the morning comes again. The light of strength is constant, sure as love, forever glad to give itself away, because it cannot give but to itself. No one can ask in vain to share its sight, and none who enters its abode can leave without a miracle before his eyes, and strength and light abiding in his heart. The light of strength is not the light you see. It does not flicker and go out. The light of strength is constant, sure as love, forever glad to give itself away, because it cannot give but to itself. So yeah, don't forget to breathe. Because in fact you're in the middle of a quantum experiment as we do this. So don't forget to breathe. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I'm not seeing you visually, but I know it there. So in consciousness, you're right here with me. That is also very interesting. Like it seems that I'm speaking to myself or to this little green light on the top of my screen, but I know it's not that. So welcome to the quantum light work. And quantum light work is quite abstract. It's not very concrete. It doesn't sound like that. So today we have, say, this is like an introduction to the quantum light work, and it will be so familiar to a certain degree. It is just that, in fact, like I said, it is a quantum experiment that we're in ourselves, and quantum being a description, in fact, of the basic particles or non-particles that you, as you know yourself, or you as a consciousness are made of, but you're actually not made of anything in that sense. Like it's not matter. But what is it then? Is it energy? Is it frequency? Is it vibration? Is it, well, one thing for sure is that when you enter in fully into this quantum experiment, the whole idea of looking at it or considering it is over. So, and that makes this so great. So it's like you step into the experiment itself. You become the experiment yourself, and that makes it great, because then there's no one looking at it. No, you're just in the experience of it. Well, see, this is whenever we get to it, it's like this is the invitation, you could say. But it helps to, so this is one of the reasons that I'm doing this, in a sense. It's like, it's one of the ways to make this transfer from a human material idea, a three-dimensional idea, into a different dimension. I will not characterize it, but it's more like a non-particle universe that is always around you, and that is you. like you're a whole part of that. Now, this sounds already kind of familiar, and I want to stay out of teaching of any kind and stay right in the, say, the quantum physics, and start with the very first beginning, you could say. Now, what could that be then? See, I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. You know this. I do this many times. I'm saying this many times. So whether you like it or not, you're fully in this quantum experience. You determine things without even noticing. You determine things in their outcome, in what you get from it, in what you do with it, and what it does with you. You know, it's like, so you're already in the experiment. You're already right in the middle of it, because you're actually the one who determines what is going to happen. And what is going to happen to whom or what? Well, yeah, we're going to find out. So I don't even know where to start, really. That's what you see myself doing. Is like there's like so many entrances into this. So I had like, okay, so how am I going to do this then? And luckily I get all the help, because I'm, say, asking for it, opening my mind for it in order to receive it, and say, not only knowing to receive that I can receive it, but also knowing that there are literally infinite possibilities all the time. And see, that's already a quantum expression, you could say. It's like infinite possibilities, superposition, as it would be with particles. Like particles are everywhere at the same time, and by you observing something, you actually confirm it, that it is located somewhere. Now, see, this is getting into the vocabulary, you could say. You're getting familiar with quantum systems. See, quantum system is not abstract, like you're in the middle of it. So that maybe is the most important part of this introduction, that you recognize how familiar it is, even though you didn't, you were not aware of it for just a moment. Now, to shake that up a little bit, I use different things today. One of them is the Mandela effect. Since we're like also practicing perception, true perception, and recognizing the nothingness of what we're perceiving. So the Mandela effect is a beautiful, say, aspect of that. That's one thing. So what is a Mandela effect? We're gonna talk about that. But you're very familiar with it too. So it's nothing new. It's just giving it a name and also looking at it and what principles are playing in it. And wow. So that's another thing. So to bring it back to you in your, say, neuroscience being, as you know yourself, like somebody with nerves, with actual nerves, this is also very interesting. So how many decisions do you think that you make during the day? You can put it in the chat. That's maybe interesting. How many decisions are you making in one day? You can say like 100 or 200 or 60,000 or 20,000 or maybe 1,000,000 decisions a day, or maybe just two, or maybe one decision in the morning. It could be two. Billions, even it says, Dylan says billions. 60,001. Who offers more? Who offers more? See, this is hundreds. Okay. Okay, so it is sufficient. Thank you so much. So now neuroscientists have made averages of this, and the estimate goes to about 35,000 decisions. Am I going to look this way? Am I going to look that way? Am I sitting up straight, or am I just doing like this? Am I moving my pinky when I'm doing this, or am I talking when I'm doing this? You know, all these kind of decisions is what you do. So you make quite a bit of decisions during the day and occupy yourself with it. So with every say decision that you make, you're actually determining something. You move into say you choose a universe that you actually continue on, and with its own consequences. Now, this might sound pretty difficult. Like, what do you mean? A different universe by one decision different? Like whether I brush my teeth with my left or my right hand? Yes, indeed. So there's a parallel universe, you could say, where someone the same like you is brushing his teeth with his right hand. And yeah, and so on. This makes the idea of a parallel universe very kind of familiar. And you might have thought of this as a child too. I remember that I did that. It's like, imagine that I didn't go right, but I did go left here. What would happen with the rest of my life? Like, it would be totally different. And how do I know this? Well, it's like all these decisions are in fact just a limitation. Out of all the choices that you have, you choose one. Like you could say, like, well, in fact, you're brushing your teeth with in every kind of position during the day. It's like everything, you could say, everything is going on all the time, and every opportunity, every possibility is present with you. Now, these principles all have names. And it sounds a bit chaotic so far, but it will work out once we get into the idea of the Mandela effect. So that's one thing. Now, since I already expressed to you that you're actually determining how this class will be by all these decisions that you're making, like you make decisions about what you want to hear, what you want to see, what you want me to say to you, and that makes it very interesting. So it's like, okay, so now you might as well say what you think is your motivation. Okay, so here's the introduction. Okay, so here are 4 questions. What do you expect from this meeting? You can just write it up for yourself, or remember it, of course. What do you expect of this meeting? So now one thing is, what attracted you to join? And what is the purpose for this meeting? And how are you going to use this meeting? So you can think about that for just a moment. So you can write this down, because we're not going to do something with it right now, but if you write it down or remember it well, or however you want to do that, that's wonderful, because then at the end of this meeting we will take another look at it, if it worked out for you. So here are some things that I'm going to talk about now. The basic principles we use in the meetings. I was talking about that already. Now we have 2 things, objective reality and subjective reality. So I'm going to stop this. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the Newtonian physics. As you know, we have looked at this before. It's like the Newtonian physics is the physics as you know it. It's like, okay, here's a thing, here's an object, I'm sitting on an object in this space. The sun is shining. There are planets in the sky, and all this. It's like it is a world full of objects, of separate objects. They can fall down. There's a gravity pulling you to this earth, and all this is, and this is where you deal with in your daily existence. You could say, as a human being, you look at it that way. A material world where you walk around in, and this is the image that you're very familiar with, but it is not the real thing, is what you discover. And we do exercises for that. We do lessons for it to discover, like, nothing what I see means anything, or it's as meaningless as the things in the street and as my thoughts. Like, it appears to be even like on a mental sphere more than on a physical sphere, as the material sphere is actually non-existent. In our spiritual development, we discover that the material world actually does not exist as we know it. Not even our own idea about ourselves. Now, that's probably the shortest way I can share about the objective reality as you know it as a human being. So the reality part is not real. It is a dream-like structure. You know this. So then the subjective part is in fact comes back to your experience of yourself, your experience of what is actually going on within you, what is going on with the thoughts that you have, with the experiences of, say, opening your consciousness to have different experiences. So the subjective then has everything to do with the world behind the physical objects that you're familiar with. And in fact, by meditating, you come deeper into contact with your subjective experience of yourself. You could say, if you do this well, if you recognize this moment as the only moment there is, like we practice this a little bit in the meditation, like this is the only moment that there is, then you see that something happens, like your consciousness can open up and actually receive communication, you could say. There's something that happens in which you suddenly start to, you could say, like, vibrate at a different frequency, or you come into a deep sense of release, of gratitude, of say, rest, peace, and all this. It's like, so that is a shift, you could say, that takes place in you in order to come into a subjective experience of yourself, maybe even of a singular reality, in which you see that you're completely connected to the whole energy setup as you start to discover yourself. See, I don't want I don't want to use any kind of teaching words or jargon. I stay out of it as much as I can, and just to come to my expression of this, and which is an experiment in itself. But I love it anyway. It's great. So if you have any questions, you can ask them later, of course. So this Newtonian physics, like the physical part, 3D, falling down with a certain speed, being located in a certain location, being occupant of planet Earth, we leave this, in fact, behind in this moment together in the quantum light work. Because the system that we're actually trying to come into, see, I'm speaking consciousness, really. It's like the place that we want to enter into is in fact the quantum experiment that you entered in by say tuning in into this meeting, seeing that you're completely determining what is going on here, and you're completely responsible for your own experience here. And say that's why I asked too about the expectations, like, are you expecting something in form, or are you expecting something, a certain result? Then that's probably not going to happen, because it is like, no, the expectations are not given, they're not going to be fulfilled from outside. So it is really like this. It's like we saw this in the meditation too. You only give to yourself. So it's an extension of you that you're actually in the middle of, and you receive directly what you are giving. Now this is where it becomes fun in terms of an experiment. Now imagine, and this is what the actual occurrence here. Imagine that we give everything to one another. Imagine that we recognize that there's only one system here, and one quantum system, and we're fully entangled energetically. It's like we're completely entangled in this, because that's why we show up. Like the resonance that I was asking for, like what attracted you to come here is an entanglement where you hardly have to make a decision for. You feel the pull, and you just show up, and you want to be here. That's it. So that is already like a sign of this quantum entanglement. We come to that, and the definition will follow in a minute. But you're actually experiencing that, and also this resonance that is going on. Like you feel a pull to be here. So now that can have a reason. You can say like, well, the reason that I do this is this. But in the end, it is like, no, you feel you just want to be there. Like there's a magnetic force playing here that has nothing to do with any of your reasons, but it's just like, yes, I'm here. I show up. I'm dedicating myself. This is part of my, say, fulfillment of my purpose. Now this all is very familiar to you. So that's why I said too, like, don't think that this is not something that you're not familiar with. You're totally familiar with this. It is just a great way to come even into a deeper experience of it by having it like literally like putting on a plate for you how much you are involved in this. And that's just beautiful to recognize it and admit it. So that's one thing. So now we're going to the as an in between. We're going to watch a little 4-minute, I think, video about this Mandela effect that I was sharing about. The Mandela effect.
The Mandela effect. The science behind our collective false memories. Did you ever start watching a movie on TV with your friends and see an actor or actress who you and your friends remember as having died? Then a quick Google search assures you that they're very much alive. This common occurrence is called the Mandela effect, and it is a collective misremembering of a fact or event. The term Mandela effect was first coined by the paranormal enthusiast Fiona Broome, who along with people from all over the world remembered former South African President Nelson Mandela as having died in prison during the 1980s. People even remembered watching Mandela's funeral on TV during the 1980s. In fact, after 27 years in prison, Nelson Mandela was released, went on to become South Africa's president, and didn't die until 2013. A similar example of the Mandela effect is the canonization of Mother Teresa. People from different countries have a distinct memory of seeing Mother Teresa being canonized during her lifetime, sometime in 1990s, by Pope Paul II. In reality, her canonization didn't occur until September 4, 2016, 19 years after her death. On June 5, 1989, during the Tiananmen Square protest in China, many people remember seeing the lone man who stood in front of the tanks rolling into the square be run over and killed. In actuality, that never happened. Many people remember the color chartreuse as being a reddish purple or magenta color. Chartreuse is actually a yellowish green color. People remember the band Queen's song "We Are the Champions" as ending with "No time for losers, 'cause we are the champions of the world." But its final lyric actually is "No time for losers, 'cause we are the champions." In the popular Star Wars film The Empire Strikes Back, most of us would swear that Darth Vader told Luke Skywalker, "Luke, I am your father." In reality, Vader said, "No, I am your father." Even the famous phrase from Walt Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs isn't safe from misremembering. The evil queen never said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?" She actually said, "Magic mirror on the wall." What is causing this collective misremembering? Modern psychological theory holds that memory is constructive, not reproductive. That means our brains build memories on the fly out of pieces of information, as opposed to playing memories back like a recording. Because of that, our memories can be distorted by bias, association, imagination, or even peer pressure. A possible quantum explanation for the Mandela effect was put forth by physicist Fred Alan Wolf. He defined a difference between the reality in our dreams and the reality during our waking hours. Wolf describes quantum physics as being made up of probabilities, and out of those probabilities, actualities manifest. Wolf maintains that the collective unconscious manifests in our dreams and reflects what the entire planet as a whole is experiencing. Sometimes the Mandela effect is so strong that it overtakes reality. People remember a character from the movie Gremlins as being named Spike. In actuality, the character was named Stripe. But bending to the Mandela effect, in November 2016, a t-shirt featuring the character Spike was released for sale.
All right. So that was a short, very short introduction to the Mandela effect. Now you say like, okay, so what does that have to do with what is going on here? Well, I thought it is a great entrance into many things because it is like the Mandela effect has everything to do with perception, with a collective idea, and with taking bits of information out everywhere and knitting a story of it as what you do as a human being. Like you think that you are conscious of what you're doing, conscious of your decisions. Now, coming back to the neuroscience for just a moment, it's like the 35,000 or 60,000, whatever, on a busy day, 60,000 decisions you make, they're not all conscious decisions. So there's such thing as bias, and there's another principle, we come to that another time, that is making it like an automation of choices that you just make just like that because of your feeling for it, like, oh, it must be like this, it must be like that. And so in order to deal with what you call the Newtonian physics, like the Newtonian world that you grew up in and that you're actually thinking that you're existing. So this is all not what it appears to be. Basically, that is what I'm saying, is like it is not what it appears to be, but also there's much more going on than you can possibly imagine. in terms of things that you think are certain but are not certain at all, or that your description of yourself, you're holding on to an identity as you know yourself, is based on just fragments of who you truly are. Now, we have heard that before. It's like who you truly are has nothing to do with your ideas about it. So that's where it can be helpful to look at certain aspects of quantum physics. Now, it is not that I'm going to make a watertight story to completely plaster this closed. No, it's more the other way around. Actually, it's like admitting that you have no idea who you are gives you the opportunity to experience who you are. Being completely uncertain what your next step is, which is in fact a very open attitude. So this is what you see in your transformation too. It's like whatever is going on, you start to discover that you have no idea of what the next moment will bring or how to respond to any of it. And that in itself becomes your openness or your certainty. And it's something you have to get used to. So that's why this can really help, and that's why I'm sharing it. Now, not to theorize too much about why it's so good to do this, I just want to step right into it with a couple of definitions and tell you a little bit about it, just as the basic principles, you could say, of quantum physics, and see if I can get to that. So here it is. Superposition. See, my actual, say, file with all these definitions, I had to pick that from another universe and bring it back in here. I got lost. That's how quick this goes. So it's like superposition is the ability of a quantum system to be in multiple states at the same time until it is measured. So if measured, you could say, is like observed. It is you pick one, you decide for one outcome, and woof, there's the outcome, and you think it's the only possibility. Now, the healing aspect of this is enormous, quite enormous, if you look at it in a broader sense, because it is you, in this experience of you in this quantum system, you choose one, like one of the 35,000 decisions during the day. You pick, like, okay, I'm in the bathroom. So at the same time, you cannot be somewhere else. You cannot be in the kitchen and in the bathroom at the same time, as is what you know as your reality. So you could say, like, as soon as you decide an outcome, then there it is. Then suddenly it is there. And so that has consequences. So you find yourself in the kitchen with your toothbrush while you actually had to be in the bathroom, or stuff like this. So superposition is then you choose one outcome and that determines where you find yourself. Okay, so this, I'm just giving some examples with it. And the uncertainty principle by Mr. Heisenberg. The uncertainty principle states that we cannot know both the position and the speed of a particle, such as a photon or an electron. Like, you cannot, well, look at it as a train. If you want to know exactly where the train is when it's moving with a certain speed, you already see that there's a difficulty. So when you would point exactly where the train is, it would already be somewhere else, or the train has to stand still for just a tiny little bit of a second in order for you to be able to say, like, it's right here. As soon as you say it's right here, then it doesn't move. So, yeah, what's the relevance of this? We get to that in a moment. So, but the uncertainty principle is in fact then that you cannot locate anything that is moving. So, that's sufficient for now. So now we use the word hologram sometimes too, like a hologram. Simply put, holograms are three-dimensional images generated by interfering beams of light that reflect real physical objects, unlike some other things like three-dimensional 3D projections. Holograms can be seen with the naked eye. Now we use this word hologram more as an idea of your dream. I'm going to get out of this. It's like we use this to it's like, okay, I'm seeing this. This is my hologram. I project things on it. I decide certain outcomes, and there it is. Here's my phone. I decide. I put it in my hand, and it's part of my dream. It is part of this hologram that I'm seeing, not say recognizing that it's a physical thing, but more like it is a reflection of what I'm thinking. This is my phone. This is me sitting in this chair. Like it is a picture, an outer picture of ideas I hold about myself. So that's how I use here, because that's what we're dealing with. And like this is how I use the idea of hologram. Now, parallel universe. In quantum mechanics, a universe theorized as existing alongside our own, although undetectable. Like there's no way that you can determine a parallel universe without entering into it, you could say. So coming back to you choose one thing. I'm in the bathroom instead of in the kitchen, and that determines the rest of this universe, and you determine it constantly. It's like multiverse theory. This is in fact like you go left here in the street, you go left, that determines what you're going to face, what the rest of your life will be. Yeah, is there another universe? Yes, there are many, plenty. And are you determining those two? No, when you are in this one, you determine this. Can I prove that the other one is there? No, I cannot. As soon as I would say confirm that there's a parallel universe, I would step into it. Yeah, so the relevance of this is, of course, the expansion of mind that takes place by you going like, what the hell is this? Or how am I supposed to look at this? What are you talking about, Wim? What is going on? What is this? How can this be helpful in any kind of way? Now, you can say this. It's like, since we're part of a quantum experience, this can be totally helpful. See, and I rush a little bit through it because I don't want to talk too long. So it's like, and I'm not really rushing it, but I think this will touch some aspects of it that are really helpful for the introduction. See, I'm saying this, I'm repeating this again too, to confirm what I'm actually want to put down here or share with you, because I'm well aware that all of this that we're doing is taking place in a whole different setup than we can possibly imagine. Now, I said this can be all very helpful and very much a contribution to the speed up of transformation or healing, and actual healing can take place. Of course, it's always possible. Like the miracle's always possible. The shift into a vertical experience of yourself is always possible. Now, by opening your mind, these possibilities easily come to you. If you decide one thing, is like, well, I really don't like the quantum class, it's not going to bring me anything. well, there you have decided that it's not going to bring you anything, and I can try whatever I want, but it will not have a different outcome because you determined that for yourself, that this would be that. And so it is the other way around too. It's like this is an opportunity for incredible healing beyond what I can possibly imagine. And it's happening right now. It doesn't have to take time whatsoever. Now, you can feel that's a different opening of energy, because it's like, whoa, that's much more exciting to talk like that than to say like, well, don't want to do anything with it. I don't know. This is just too much theory, and I don't know. Or it's like, nah, that's probably not for me. Or whatever defense you come up with. It's like, you see, the energy of defenses are so heavy and so difficult. So is there a necessity for it to defend yourself against this? No, not at all. So that makes it easier. So yeah, better. Yeah. That's why I say breathe. Give yourself some space. Yeah, be yourself, and yes, yeah, absolutely. Move around and do whatever you need to do in order to feel that freedom that is completely a part of you. And it's completely what you are. So you know the difference between you sitting on this chair as you do right now. It's like, you know the difference between you sitting on this chair or dancing insanely to hard rock or whatever beat that turns you on. Like, you know the difference between that energy wise. You know, it's like when you allow this quantum system that you are representing and a total part of to vibrate in a certain frequency, it does different things with you. Like, when I put on a song that has a beat and that has a bit of a swing, then you start to move around and instead of sitting still. So you're very sensitive for all this, all this energy that is available. So also for the thoughts that you're having and the thoughts that you want to let go of, instead of deciding that you grab it to hold on to it. Like, no, this is mine. No, I'm not gonna let go of that. You see it already change again. Like, everything becomes heavy and slow and like, okay, although you hold on to it. No, that's not very exciting. That is not giving me anything. It's like, okay, you hold on to it. You know, it's like, okay, not opening up gives more opportunities. So you can say, like, in this quantum light work that we're actually entering into, it is being completely aware of this, that you're determining, and you're in a quantum experience all the time, and you determine how you want your experience to be, and not anyone else. So you can make it heavy and dramatic and physical and material, or you can relax that, not measuring it, not deciding an outcome, keeping it completely open and allowing yourself to come into movement and into a flow that you didn't know before. So all these possibilities are for you here, and it is like, it is not difficult. It is just being aware of that you make a decision. Well, 35,000 a day you make decisions. So whether you hold on or let go, hold on, fear, love, fear, love, fear, love. You do this all the time. And with that, things are opening up or are closing down, or, you know, all this is going up. So I made that clear. So in the healing aspect then of this quantum light work, it is like you never did this experiment before, so it's always brand new, and it's when you decide to enter into it consciously, you determine, of course, what is going on. So the expansion of mind, this was in fact why I wanted to come to, is like the expansion of your consciousness makes it for you like an incredible opportunity for having a completely different experience of yourself. I mean, completely different. So that makes it exciting in that sense. It makes it realistic on a huge scale, on an infinite scale, and like the reality of you is like that. It is not anything else. So the human contraction, the human materialistic contraction of slow time and working things out in time has become too slow for you. That's why you resonate with this, what is being shared. Like, it is too slow because it doesn't seem to be the thing that is really there. Like, you know yourself different. You don't recognize yourself in this matter construction. And so the decision then to go out of it and allow yourself to be completely uncertain will give you the opportunity to immediately experience something else. So that's why it's so great to get in touch with these, say, uncertainty principle, superposition. In fact, it's all about open-mindedness, or miracle-mindedness, open-mindedness. Anything can happen at any time, and it's completely open. So it's like the undoing of the contraction as you used to as a human being, holding on to your definition of yourself makes it that you're, say, unable to enter freely into this quantum experiment, or the quantum reality that you're actually in, you could say. Well, this is about what I wanted to share, say, as an introduction to the quantum light work. I might have some more, say, principles that I can share with you. Now we have those. Okay, so here. Yes, but what is quantum light work? Well, I think I answered that kind of. And is quantum light work a healing modality? Does it compare to spiritual healing? Well, you discover it. You will discover it. It's like, what do you think? Like, what do you think spiritual healing is? Like, spiritual healing in that sense is your recognition of the truth of who you are, seeing that that radiates all through the universe and is not like a contraction, but a complete expansion in which a flow of recognition is going on, where everything is part of and everything can, say, vibrate at its own frequency. That's about the clearest I can say it right now. So there's a total comparison with spiritual healing. There's a total comparison. It is just in expressing this, like I used some terms in expressing this, it can be helpful because we use a different language to in fact say the same thing, or to discover, oh, that's what you mean. Oh, right. So it opens doors. And as long as it supports your expansion of mind, anything is welcome. When it comes to me, like, it's a great discovery that you make more than 500 decisions a year, a day, but 35,000, and that most of these decisions are unconscious by bias. So you just do the things you do like you used to, or all these things. All right. Well, see, this was a bit that I wanted to share with you as an introduction. So let me know if you have any questions or maybe you wanna share what your expectations were when you wrote them down and how it actually came out, and if it actually worked that way for you or something else happened. So I'm of course very curious to see what's occurring. Are you able to find your notes back or not? All right, so thank you so much for listening, and we continue then with the non-public part.